So, as a quick recap, last time we had seen the concept of pseudo force, a body in a non inertial frame. So, we had seen that pseudo force was given by the relation it is minus m into a naught, where e naught is the acceleration of the non inertial frame with respect to the ground frame, and m is the mass of the body. Okay, so today we'll start with another example of that. In fact, we'll start with an example very similar to the last example we had done in class, but extending the concept of that a little bit further. So in this example, so I think more or less most students are here. Yeah, just a couple of more students pending. So anyway, okay. So what's happening in this particular problem? So we have this triangular wedge, which is of mass capital M, and this angle is theta. Now on this wedge, we have another block like this which is placed, which is of mass small m, and this is a smooth surface, this is also a smooth surface, and now what we are doing is we are pushing this system with an external agent is pushing it horizontally like this with a force F. Okay. So what happens here is it is observed that the block small m does not slip with respect to the wedge capital M, and moves along with it. Okay. Given that small m is 5 kilograms, capital M is 20 kilograms, and the angle theta is 37 degrees, take g as 10 meters per second square. So first thing, calculate the acceleration of the wedge with respect to ground. How much acceleration with which the wedge should be moving so that the small block, it's like pinned on that point on the wedge, it is not sliding down. And second, find the magnitude of the horizontal force on the wedge that we need to apply on the wedge to keep it accelerating at that kind of situation. Okay, so you'll understand intuitively if we apply the correct amount of force, okay, then what will be happening is this block will not be sliding down the wedge. If we apply less than the correct amount of force, then the block will be sliding down the incline. So exactly how much force in newtons we have to apply so that this thing happens, that the block small m does not slide down the inclined plane, but rather it moves along with the wedge as if it's pinned in that place on the wedge. Okay, you understood the question, all of you? So just try this out. So the hint to you is, start by making the free body diagram of the block in the wedges frame. Okay, so that's the hint. If you do that step correctly, you'll be able to understand how to do this. ब्लॉक मूव कर रहा है, वेज ऐसा मूव कर रहा है और ब्लॉक उसके साथ में मूव कर रहा है. द ब्लॉक इज नॉट स्लाइडिंग डाउन द इंक्लाइन प्लेन. So to get the condition for that, start with this. Make the free body diagram of the block in the wedges frame. Okay. And if you just revise through the lecture notes of the last problem we had done in the previous lecture, it was very similar free body diagram. So you'll understand what to do from that. Yes, I have explained enough, service. You should be able to understand now with that. Try it out what I'm saying. Just on the basis of the hint I've given, make the free body diagram and try to work it out. Okay, so if I assume that this whole system is moving with some acceleration a, then what is happening with respect to an observer on the, okay, this thing does not slip down the incline. So keeping that in mind, what we'll now do is we'll make the free body diagram of the block with respect to the non-inertial frame of the wedge, जो कि ground के respect में ऐसे slip कर रहा है with acceleration a. So this is the inclined surface. The forces acting on it will be, first of all, we will consider pseudo force. MA in magnitude. Then of course there are the other forces like the weight of this, okay, and normal reaction should act like this. Okay. Now what is happening with respect to this? There is an equilibrium. Okay. The block is in equilibrium with respect to the wedge. So from this you will find out the value of acceleration. Given that you know that this angle theta is 37 degrees. And so on and so forth. So anyone got the answer for A? Yeah, that's correct. 7.5. So you should be getting the answer for A as g tan theta, or in this case 7.5 meters per second square. So see how that will be happening. This is your inclined plane, so this is at an angle theta. So you can either use Lami's theorem. So n by sine 90, this whole angle is 90, is equal to pseudo force divided by, now opposite to pseudo force, this angle. This angle is how much? It is 180 minus theta, and that is equal to mg upon, opposite to mg you have this angle, which is 90 plus theta. So the second part, it tells you that E by sine theta is equal to G by cos theta, or A is equal to G tan theta. Another way of doing the same thing is you can also resolve the forces. So you can do one more thing here. Instead of applying Lami's theorem, you can also resolve these forces. So if you go with the method of resolution, mg के components will become mg sine theta down the inclined plane and mg cos theta like this, whereas the pseudo forces components become like this. So here down the inclined plane, so if we take down the inclined plane as our x-axis and perpendicular to it as our y-axis. So along our x-axis, what is happening is mg sine theta is balanced by ma cos theta, and this will directly give us the same result. Whereas along the y-axis, not important here, but normal reaction is mg cos theta plus ma sin theta. Okay. So the second equation is not necessary for this part. We just need this. So this acceleration will come out to be, and tan 37, as you know, is 3 by 4. So this will become 7.5 meters per second square. So hope you have all understood this part. Whether you go with the resolution or by Lami's theorem method, it's one and the same thing. Equally easy both the methods are. So this gives you the first part. We found out the acceleration of the block, how much it should be. Now second part, you have to find out how much force is being applied on the system. So just try this out now. No, Rahil, that is not correct about the force. Just be a little bit more careful about the free body diagram. Okay. Remember that there is contact force between the block and the wedge also. I think you might have missed that out, or you might have made a calculation error, one of the two. Okay, let me explain how you will get the force applied. Now we have two options actually. One is a slightly more difficult option, and one is comparatively a easier option. We can make the free body diagram of just the block in the inertial frame, or rather just the wedge, mass capital M, in the inertial frame, and it is having a horizontal acceleration. In that frame, as we know of, 7.5 meters per second square. But what about the forces acting on it? So that is why I'm saying this is the slightly more difficult option, because there are a number of forces acting on it. There is its weight, there is the normal reaction acting on it, but there is also, sorry, not mg, and let's name this normal reaction as n prime, because it's, now there is also this force, this contact force between the two, this one. So ये एक force भी लग रहा है, which we'll have to consider, because we are taking the free body diagram of the wedge only. There is this force which is acting on it along this perpendicular direction, and that is n. And finally there's the external force that we are applying, this. So अगर हम ये consider करते हैं ना, so the free body diagram becomes a little more complicated, as you can see. Just making the pure FBD now, you see the forces are horizontal force of F, vertically downward force of mg, vertically upward force of the ground's normal reaction, but also there is this normal reaction n acting along this direction. So this angle is theta, this acceleration is e. So अगर हम ऐसे बनाते, we'll have to write the equation f minus n sin theta is equal to ma, and n prime plus, or n prime balances the sum of mg plus n cos theta. Now what we'll have to do is, from above we'll have to substitute the value of n from equation 2. Okay. So we can always do this and we'll get the answer, there's no problem, but it's a little bit more lengthy. Now we have a much simpler option. Alternately, what we can do is, since the wedge and the block are moving together, okay, we can make a combined free body diagram. Okay. And from that you calculate the value of f. So this is the alternate option. So what we do is we make the free body diagram of the block plus the wedge as a combined body of m plus n, on which we are applying this force F, and that is moving with the acceleration E. So work out from this now how much you will get the value of f. This is much easier. So if you do this, you'll see that on this system, these are the only forces which are there. Okay. So on M plus M as a system, there's only one horizontal force F. The other two forces are vertical. So they should not bother us. So we'll just get this is of course in ground frame. Okay. So F should just become M plus E. Okay. So you should be getting F as this. Now I'll show in the above free body diagram also you'll get the same. But as I said that is unnecessary. Now, we don't need to work that hard in solving so many equations. We can just, this alternate method is much easier. Now, this is where I made the free body diagram of just the wedge. But alternately, I can also make the free body diagram of the combined free body diagram. Wedge plus the block. And this is a much easier method now. This is a trick that we learned before only. We've seen it number of times. So hope the question is clear now, and also the values. Yes, people, is this question clear? Any doubt with this? Okay. Let me demonstrate how we'll get the same result from this situation also, this free body diagram. But as I told you, it requires little more effort now because we have to also substitute the value of n na, from here. So we'll have to substitute this value of n here. Okay. So when you substitute that, you will get f as ma plus n sine theta. So that is ma plus this thing mg cos theta plus ma sine theta, the whole thing into sine theta. Okay. So now you can use a little trick over here that you can resubstitute g. G was, I mean, you can substitute g in terms of theta, in terms of a like this, because a was g tan theta. So ये हो जाएगा cos theta upon tan theta plus sin theta, the whole thing into sin theta. So when you substitute this, this will become ma plus small ma into, see, this will become cos square theta plus sin square theta, whole thing upon sin theta into sin theta. So sin theta cancels out, cos square plus sin square is 1. So you will get m plus m a, that is 20 plus 5 into 7.5. You get it as the same thing, but as I told you, more effort. तो ये ज़्यादा लेंदी मेथड है सॉल्व करने का. So we are substituting n. Survey, just write it down. There is nothing to explain in that. Yeah. कंबाइंड फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम कई बार पहले पढ़ाया मैंने आपको. ये लिख लो, आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. जो भी इसमें एक्सप्लेनेशन है लिखा ही हुआ है. वेज एंड ब्लॉक आर मूविंग टुगेदर, सो मेक अ कंबाइंड फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम. तो कंबाइंड बॉडी का मास कितना है, m प्लस m है. उस पर फोर्सेस कैसे लग रहे हैं, ऐसे लग रहे हैं. ये तो सबसे आसान पार्ट है क्वेश्चन का. Is it clear now? Both the methods are clear, people? Okay, good. Okay, now we will come to the next concept in Newton's laws of motion, which is the last new concept to learn. Then we'll be done with all the methods. So the next thing is called, it is examples with systems of police. Okay. An application of something called a constraint relation. So we'll straight away start with an example. So we have a pulley which is attached to a ceiling like this, and we have a massless thread going around the pulley. But that thread on the other side is actually also going around another pulley. Okay. So second वाला side का जो thread है, that instead of directly being attached to a block, it is going around the second pulley like this. Okay. And finally, the other side of the thread is attached to the ceiling like this. So this is our system now. So within the system, what is happening is that this is a massless and inextensible thread, and this is a massless smooth pulley. Same with this. Okay. And given suppose that mass of block A is let us say 5 kilograms. Okay. Now first part what we have to do is, if the system remains in equilibrium when released from rest, with the thread taut. Okay, that means the thread is tight, it's not loose. Then find mass of B. Okay. The second case, instead, if mass of A is equal to mass of B, then find their accelerations. For this part, take G as 10 meters per second square. Now just work out the first part of the question, is quite easy. Then we'll come to the second part. फर्स्ट पार्ट के लिए आपको दोनों का FBD बनाना है, फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम, और इक्विलिब्रियम कंडीशन यूज करना है. Okay, so got the answer, anybody? Yes, first answer is correct. What about the second one? 10 kg will be the answer for the first part. Second part का answer, anyone got it? So see, the first part is pretty simple. सिंगल स्ट्रिंग है, तो हर जगह पे टेंशन यूनिफॉर्म है मैग्नीट्यूड में. सर्वेश आप आंसर नहीं 100, थोड़ा सोचो ना कैसे 100 हो सकता है बेटा. जी का वैल्यू ही तो 10 है, तो आपका एक्सलेशन 100 कहाँ से होगा, है ना. जस्ट यूज लिटिल लॉजिक ना. अगर हम स्ट्रिंग ही काट देते तभी तो वो जी से नीचे आएंगे दोनों, तभी तो उसका एक्सलेशन 10 होगा. तो 10 से ज़्यादा कैसे हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो 10 से तो कम होगा ना. हाँ. फर्स्ट पार्ट, फॉर इक्विलिब्रियम, is free body diagram looking like this in inertial frame. So T is equal to weight of A, so 50 newtons. Okay. And similarly, B is free body diagram. Now B के free body diagram के लिए आप क्या कर सकते हो? Because the pulley attached to B is massless, so you can include that in your free body diagram. Okay. And again, this is in inertial frame. And again, its acceleration is 0. So we'll get the equation 2T has to balance the weight of G. Now substitute this over here. So 2 times the weight of A has to balance the weight of B. Okay, so first of all, those of you who have not worked out the first part, note this down. Then I'm coming to the second part solution. Okay, next let's come to the second part. So the first thing in the second part is, now mass of B is equal to mass of A, equal to 5 kg. So from part 1 we saw that M should have been 10 kg to keep the system in equilibrium. So instead, if mass of B is less than 10 kg, while mass of A is kept fixed at 5 kg, okay, then the blocks start accelerating, okay, and that too such that B will move upwards, okay, and A will move downwards. ये हम logically समझ सकते हैं that to keep B at rest we needed its weight to be 100 newtons. अब उसका weight 100 newton से कम हो गया, so obviously it will tend to accelerate upwards, and the moment B accelerates upwards, B has to accelerate downwards. So our system now will have this kind of motion. So now since we are taking mass of A is equal to mass of B, equal to 5 kg, okay, let's call this M now. So we can see that what will happen as a result of this is that B को पकड़ के रखने के लिए, to keep it in equilibrium at that position, we needed a weight of 100 newtons, but now the weight is only 50 newtons. So B will tend to accelerate upwards, okay, but E will tend to accelerate downwards. But the difference here is that they will not have common acceleration. Acceleration of B will not be equal to acceleration of E. So one of the things we have to do is we have to work out the relationship between their accelerations, which will come from the fact that the thread length is constant. So here what we have to understand first of all is the acceleration of E will not have the same magnitude as the acceleration of B, because the thread joining them goes around a system of pulleys, not a single pulley. Okay. And the relation between acceleration of A and acceleration of B, that relation will be called a constraint relation. Okay. Will be determined by thread length conservation. So this is something very important that we learn. Constraint relation from thread length conservation. Okay. So just note down this point first, then I'll explain it to you. Okay, so now let's understand this. So the idea is going to be like this, that because the thread length is remaining constant, there is a relationship between the displacements of A and B. Okay, so okay, now this is the starting point, let's say. Okay, now after some time, suppose what happens here is that after a certain amount of time, B goes up. Okay, so B goes up by a certain displacement SB. So B goes up and now reaches this position. B जाके ऐसा पहुंच गया, ठीक है. And during that same time, A has come down and A has reached here. So A has made a downward displacement. So A has reached here. So what you will see is that as a result of these displacements, okay, अगर ये डिस्टेंस पहले मेरा एक्स ए था, ठीक है, और ये डिस्टेंस मेरा एक्स बी था. सो इनिशियली द टोटल थ्रेड लेंथ was how much? XA plus twice of XB, ये लेंथ प्लस ये लेंथ प्लस ये लेंथ, ठीक है. बट ये टाइम मेरा T प्लस डेल्टा टी है, मेरा इनिशियल टाइम T था. सो बट लेटर ये टाइम पे टोटल थ्रेड लेंथ कितना बन गया है. सो यू कैन सी दिस साइड द थ्रेड लेंथ हैज डिक्रीज ना. थ्रेड लेंथ अब ऐसा हो गया है, यहाँ से यहाँ, यहाँ से यहाँ, और ये टोटल थ्रेड लेंथ ना ऐसा हो गया है. So this side it has decreased, so it has become, but that side it has increased. It has become XA plus SA. Now this thread length is the same. Okay, so compare the two equations. So इनके displacement में ये relation है. Okay. So you can say that so therefore the conclusion is that in any time interval delta t, if B has moved up by SB, then A moves down by SA equal to 2 times SB. This is the so-called constraint relation. So constraint का मतलब क्या होता है? It is some boundation, or it is some rule, a fixed rule that the system has to follow. So this constraint is coming from the fact that it is because L, the total length of thread, must be conserved. My thread length cannot increase or decrease. So that is the foundation, or that is the constraint that the system is following over here. Okay. You're understanding the point. So this is the thing. Okay. So make a note of this first. Then I'll tell you कि यहाँ से हमको acceleration का relationship कैसे मिलेगा. ये तो displacements का relationship है. तो acceleration का relation कैसे मिलेगा, that we'll understand next. So the other thing one has to pay attention to here is that block B का जितना भी displacement हो रहा है, उतना ही displacement आपका thread का भी होगा या pulley का भी होगा. So ये जो pulley यहाँ से यहाँ जा रहा है, ये वाला displacement ही SB होगा. That is the same as the displacement of the block. Okay, so जितनी देर में A is coming down through a displacement of SA, in that same interval the block and the pulley together are making an upward displacement of SB. So this is a critical part of Newton's laws. Please make sure you make the diagram properly and understand what it's saying. Okay, ask me if there's any doubt. Okay, people. So, are you 100% clear about this? हाँ वो ठीक है, बट टी प्लस डेल्टा टी है बेटा, वो टाइम टी प्लस डेल्टा टी है. Okay. Delta t, no? So it's after some time delta t, like this. So that's why we've written that in the time interval delta t, this one is moved like this. Okay. हाँ देखो क्या हो रहा है, ये तो फिक्स लेंथ है ना, ये कुछ सपोज d है, तो यहाँ दोनों तरफ d सब्ट्रैक्ट हो जाएगा. दिस इज लाइक there's a minus d here, there's a minus d here also, इसके अंदर भी एक माइनस डी होगा. सो that doesn't really matter, or you can say you can neglect d in comparison to xb, whichever, मतलब जैसा. ठीक है. सो एक्चुअली सी व्हाट विल हैपन इज वंस वी गेट यूज्ड टू दिस ना, हम इतना लंबा इक्वेशन नहीं लिखेंगे. वी विल जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दिस लॉजिकली कि if this pulley is going up by some distance sb, how much string is getting released, वो कितना string छोड़ रहा है, xb plus sb twice of that छोड़ रहा है, so this must be coming down by twice of that. Okay, so this is just to demonstrate this problem, but when we are actually solving problems at the exam level or when you're solving exercises, you don't need to write something so lengthy. You can just understand it this way कि मेरा सिस्टम इनिशियली ऐसा था. Okay. Now after some time what has happened is कि in comparison to this, ये पुली सपोज कोई भी डिस्टेंस s से ऊपर चला गया है. Okay. So ये पुली ऐसा s डिस्टेंस से ऊपर चला गया. सो हाउ मच थ्रेड इट इज रिलीज्ड, इट इज रिलीज्ड 2s अमाउंट ऑफ थ्रेड. सो यहाँ पे थ्रेड लेंथ -2s हो गया. ओके, सो ये साइड में क्या होना चाहिए, अब वो इंक्रीज होना चाहिए. सो ये साइड पे सपोज इट्स इंक्रीज बाय s प्राइम. So this should be 0 because change in length of the thread should be 0. That should be 0. So on this side you can see that s plus s, so minus 2s है ना, 2s amount कम हो गया string का length compared to this diagram. So on this side it has to increase by this, so you can see that s prime has to be 2s. So if this is the block B, this is the block A, that means A's downward displacement has to be 2 times B's upward displacement. So this is a much simpler way of analyzing the same data. Okay, but because we are learning these things, I explained the whole thing in detail first. Is this clear? Okay. Now see what is happening. B का जो upward acceleration है और E का जो downward acceleration है. Okay. So if SA is equal to 2 times SB, that means differentiation of SA with respect to time will be 2 times differentiation of SB with respect to time. So at some point of time इसका अगर velocity ऐसा है और इसका अगर velocity ऐसा है, so it means that velocity of A at any instant will be 2 times the velocity of B. The moment I'm saying displacement is in 1:2 ratio, so it means velocity will also be in 1:2 ratio, and now that implies that differentiation of velocity with respect to time will become 2 times differentiation of velocity of b with respect to time. So differentiation of velocity क्या होता है? Acceleration. So acceleration of a will be 2 times acceleration of b. Okay. So in other words, it's very simple. If the ratio of displacements is 2 is to 1, it implies that the ratio of velocities will also be 2 is to 1, and that implies that the ratio of accelerations will also be 2 is to 1. ना अगेन हर बार हमको डिफरेंशिएट करने की जरूरत नहीं, विल जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड दिस रिलेशन कि जो भी रेशियो डिस्प्लेसमेंट्स का ही होगा सेम रेशियो वेलोसिटी और एक्सीलरेशन का भी होगा. So now this becomes our constraint relation for acceleration. Okay, this becomes something very important. So this will be used to solve for acceleration of A and acceleration of B in second part of the question. ये इक्वेशन हम यूज करेंगे सॉल्व करने के लिए. This or this, they are the same thing. So next step, now make the free body diagram and find out their accelerations. Okay, so make free body diagrams of A and B and then solve for accelerations. In those free body diagrams, make sure you take mass of A is 5 kg, mass of B is also 5 kg, and acceleration due to gravity is 10 meters per second square. So use these values along with this relation now. Okay. So for solving the second part of the question, this is our first equation, that acceleration of A is twice of acceleration of B. उसके साथ आप free body diagram बना के Newton's law use करिए, that net force is equal to mass into acceleration. Then solve that system of equations that you will get, and you will get the answer for accelerations. Just try this out now. Audio was not clear. Are you getting my audio clearly now? I think you should be getting, yes. Okay. So hope you've understood this. So what I've done is equation 2 and 3 we have solved like this. Okay. And now I've written this with the vector notation, taking the y-axis as upwards. So acceleration of A is downwards, so it is negative j cap. Acceleration of B is upwards, so it's along positive j cap. And one thing you can do to check your own mistake, if there's any mistake, is ये दोनों accelerations को substitute करो equation 2 and 3 में. They should give you the same value of tension. If they are giving you the same value of tension, that means there's no mistake in our solving. Otherwise, there would be some mistake in our solving. So some of you got different answers, like you got A as 2 or 3 or something like that. If you substitute in equation 2 and 3, or yourself you can see you're getting different value of t in both the equations. So there is some mistake in the solution. So this checking for consistency also becomes something important in Newton's laws. Okay. I mean, any sort of equation solving you're doing, but particularly Newton's laws में क्या होता है, simultaneous equations है. So this checking for it, for consistency, becomes something important. Okay, people. So hope this question is fully clear to all of you. So this is where we conclude our lecture today. Now, try to do maximum questions from H.C. Verma's Newton's Laws chapter. There are a lot of questions which are based on this system of pulleys. You will see from about question 30 onwards to till the end, and they are all relevant from your neat pattern point of view. Okay, it is not like way beyond the neat level. Some of the questions will be a little bit tricky, but it's fine. I mean, if you practice a little bit extra tricky questions, then with the time constraint that you have in your physics paper in neat, you will be able to solve the regular questions faster. So I advise you to do from HC Verma fully this chapter, at least Newton's laws of motion. Okay, so with this you should be able to solve. uh, what happened, Sarvesh? I'm not understanding your doubt now. We should write minus mag plus t. नहीं नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. All the equations that we have written are with magnitude in consideration only. We don't need to add any extra plus minus sign. All these equations are with magnitude only. Okay. Here we will not write plus minus. I have shown the direction upward and downward. If you're writing plus minus, it should always be with unit vector. Okay. A magnitude of a vector cannot be written with a negative sign. Please remember that. Okay, so that's it for today, people. Complete HC Verma now.